So, one of the things that I did tell you guys about yesterday is the unit circle quiz. Unit circle quiz. It'll end up looking something like this. Save the positives and negatives. I didn't delete that on here. But it'll end up looking something like this, and I will say, fill it in. So, no, it's not tomorrow. Unit circle quiz. It's a bit before we get to the unit circle quiz, and we'll continue to use the unit circle in the meantime. But that is what the unit circle quiz looks like. It literally looks like a blank unit circle and says, fill it in. So, we're going to talk about things to kind of know this, things to kind of help you fill it in. Now, I've already essentially kind of talked about some of these. How do I fill in the angles in degrees, first off? Well, first off, you fill in the things you know. What's this one? What's the, and if I go all the way around? What's that one? That one. This one? 270. If you don't have it memorized, 180 plus an additional 90. And in case you're wondering, no, you don't get to use a calculator on the unit circle quiz. So you fill in what you know. Then we break it up into parts. Each quarter gets broken up into what's and what's. I break this into halves and thirds. I break it in half and I break it into thirds. So let's start with the halves. If I break 90 in half, half of 90 is 45. Which of these three lines? Middle one. And I count my way around the circle, adding 45 every time. 0, 45, plus 45 is 90. Plus 45 is 135. Plus 45, 180. It means I'm doing it right. Plus 45, 225. Plus 45, is that 270? It means I'm doing it right. Plus 45. Again, if you don't know it, there's room to work around the edge. And you get 315. So you break it into halves, you also break it into thirds was the other one. What's a third of 90? 30. And you can count your way around 30s to get the rest of them. 0, 30, add 30 and you get 60. Add 30 and you get, add 30. Add 30. Enough with the side conversations. I'm sick of them every day. Thank you. Add 30, I get to 180. Add 30, 210. Add 30, 240. Add 30, 270. Add 30, 300. Add 30, 330. For the radians, you count your way around as well. But we need to start off with the ones we know in radians. If I start here and end here without going anywhere, how many radians? 0. If I go all the way around the circle, 2pi. Half a circle, 1 pi. Quarter of a circle, half a pi, also known as pi over 2. What about this one down here? It's a pi plus a half a pi. 1 plus 1 half. 3 halves. 3 pi over 2. Then we break it into halves and thirds. If you don't remember what a half a pi is, you got to edge the thing to write on. Half of a half, I get a pi over 4. That goes up to 45. And I count around pi over 4s. In other words, fourths. 1/4, 2/4. Is that simplify to 1/2? 3/4 doesn't simplify. 4/4 is 1. 5/4. 6/4. Is that 3/2? Means we're doing things right. 7/4 doesn't simplify. 8/4 is 2. Don't forget the pies on those. Don't forget to simplify your fractions if you can. I go through and I also am dividing it into thirds. You don't remember what a third of a pi over 2 is, multiply it. It's a pi over 6. That's the first one. And now I count around going by sixths. 1/6, 2/6. Simplifies. Pi over 3. This would be 3 over 6. Is 3 over 6 1 over 2? Means we're doing it right. This would be 4 over 6. Can you simplify 4 over 6? Yeah. 2/3. So 2 pi over 3. 5 over 6. 6 over 6. 7 over 6. 8 over 6. That actually simplifies. This would be 9 over 6. This would be 10 over 6, which also simplifies. And this would be 11 over 6. Ending at 12 over 6, which is 2. So for those ones, you have to count your way around. If you have to simplify your fractions along the edge, go for it. For the coordinate points, you got to get the main ones as well. The corners, or not the corners, right, left, top, and bottom, you should be able to get knowing the definition of a unit circle. What is a unit circle? A circle of radius 1. You should also know what this coordinate point is. 0, 0. If that's 0, 0 and the radius is 1, this is the coordinate point 1, 0. If I go up 1 from 0, 0, it's 0, 1. If I go left 1 from 0, 0, it's -1, 0. And if I go down 1, it's 0, -1. Okay. Those things I kind of all built out yesterday. Going back over them because they are the key things that get us those. I didn't talk about the memory trick for the coordinate points. To get the other coordinate points, you're going to look at these coordinate points to start. You're going to find which part of that coordinate point is a 0. Because on the unit circle, if you look at your coordinate points, they count, all of them are over 2's, but do you notice they count 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3. They count 1, 2, 3 away from the 0. If the 0's in the y values, then in the y values, moving away from this point is where you're going to put 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Find the other zeros. There's a 0 here. It's in the x value. Moving away from this, it's going to count 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. My next 0 is here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. My 0's in the x. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Every single one of those coordinate points is over 2. In all technicality, prior to simplifying, every single numerator of those fractions should also have a square root. You'll notice the ones don't. But what's the square root of 1? 1. So all of these technically have a square root on top, but a square root of 1 simplified, so it didn't need it anymore. Put the square roots on all the ones that are not 1s. There's one key feature I don't have about these coordinate points yet, and that's if they're positive or negative, because you should know positive or negative if this is the origin. If I move to the right, I'm moving on x's. Are they positive or negative? Over here, all the x's are positive because I had to move to the right. If I moved over here, all the x's are negative because I moved left. Negative on the x values. If I move up, y's are positive. If I move down, y's are negative. The ones below 0, 0 have negatives on the y's. Now there are a number of little things that go into getting the pieces on the unit circle. Most of them, or at least a large chunk of them, are things that you should already know. You should know your positives and negatives. You should know where your angles and degrees already are. You should have some idea for some of the radian ones. You should know positives or negatives. I think I may have said that twice accidentally. The other things are just using fractions, counting around, and 0, 1, 2, 3, remembering them are over 2, and remember they have square roots. I know that's a number of little things that go into it. Again, I've been doing this for years. Karsh has been doing it for longer. We always eventually get people to memorize the unit circle. Sometimes it just takes more than once. Again, the first time you take the unit circle quiz, if you get it perfect the first time, I give you a 13 out of 10. It's one of my few extra credit opportunities I give. If you get it one of the other times, it just goes in as 10 out of 10. If you don't get it as a perfect, it goes in as missing until you get it perfect. Generally, I let it go a couple times of taking it before I mark it as missing immediately.